Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and ladies. So listen, I've been breaking in this 90cc engine. This is the Saito FG90R3, and I have the Pilot RC electric start on it. I'm sharing this with you today because this is a brand new engine. Brand new engine that I just ran 1 liter of very rich fuel according to the manufacturer's suggestions. And now, a day later, the engine is cold. And I've just adjusted the number 1 cylinder's valves. Now I want you to see this. We're on, this is number 1. This is number 2. Number 2 cylinder. Just taking it off for the first time since factory. I have my feeler gauge, and I'm going to go between the rocker arm and the top of the valve. And look at that. It fits right in there. You could almost see the gap. That's out of adjustment. So, how do we adjust it? Very, very simple. There is a lock nut. You'll get this little tool, adjusting tool. If not, it's 4 millimeters. And then it's 2 millimeter for the Allen wrench. That you stick in there and you screw it up and down. And I'll use the feeler gauge where the feeler gauge cannot move in. And I can't emphasize that enough. This feeler gauge at, where are we at? 0.10 millimeter should not fit in between, but it not so much where you're tightening it down, compressing the valve. Okay, we're at top dead center where both valves are open, and the rocker arm should just barely be touching the valve. And right now it's out of adjustment, so I'll make that adjustment. So I got the camera at a point, whereas I hope you can see it. I'm using my feeler gauge. I have my wrenches in place. I'm at top dead center. Right now the feeler gauge is inserted. I'm loosening the lock nut ever so slightly, and I'm getting the feeler gauge in there, and now it's stuck, and I want to back off a little bit. No, it comes in there. I'm turning this Allen wrench, and now I'm trying to get the feeler gauge in there, and it will not. So I don't want to move the Allen wrench whatsoever, and I want to take the lock nut and just snug down on it. And then I'm going to go to the second one. I can feel how loose it is. That one was way off. Brand new motor, okay? And so don't think just because you get a brand new motor that you're all set with the valves. You're pretty much not. This is the second motor that I've done this to, and every time the valves needed to be adjusted. So that's okay. I mean, we're breaking it in. I did not adjust the valves before I broke it in. I did not adjust the valves. I took it from the factory to break in, ran a liter worth of fuel, and I was able to break it in that way. And now, after the liter of fuel, I'm adjusting the valves, and then we're going to go and set the carburetor to the factory settings and start it up, and then tune it from there. So now, I'll just put the valve covers back and move on to the next cylinder. Okay, so we're here at the number 3 cylinder, and we're at top dead center. This valve seems to be okay, but this one is completely off. There's no way there should be that much space in there. But James, how do you find top dead center? Oh, that's a good question. I'm glad that you asked. You find top dead center on this Saito motor from the set screw pivot point to this pivot point that's in the middle of the cylinder. You also see your 2 valves when they're all the way up on the compression side, and I'll show you the rotation. Right now we're at a compression stroke. This valve is going to open up, and that's an exhaust stroke. And then this one's going to open up as I'm turning the prop, and that's an intake stroke as you see it come up. Now there's compression, and I find that the pivot point on the flange right here, and the pivot point here on the middle of the cylinder has lined up. When those have lined up, you, sir or madam, are at top dead center. Okay? And this 0.1 millimeter feeler gauge should not, emphasize this, should not fit in between there. But it shouldn't be so compressed where it's compressing the valve either. So it's much easier for me to do this off camera, whereas I can get both hands in there. So I'm going to adjust that valve. All right, so I got all the cylinders done. Number 1 was right on the money. Number 2 was off, and number 3 had 1 valve off. So with that said, hopefully this won't be cold, because my initial running of this engine, I was running about 130 degrees on both of the cylinders, and this guy was down to 85 degrees, so it was running cold. I had some other suggestions from Facebook, the Saito club, and someone said that maybe I should turn so that cylinder is down. If this doesn't work, then we're going to do that, but let's see how it goes. And I got to get my radio and batteries hooked up, and hold on a second. So I'm going to show you after break-in and after the carburetor, after initial brake, and that's after running rich, okay, for 1 liter of fuel. You adjust the carburetor, the main and the idle back to the factory settings, and the factory settings is 3 to 4 turns on the main and 4.5 to 5 turns on the idle. And what it looks like for real is right here. Get my screwdriver for a pointer. This is your main, and it takes a flat tip screwdriver, and inside the throttle arm here, there's a screw, which is like right here. That's your low. So you bring it back to settings, you go counterclockwise to 0, and then you go 3 to 4 turns on the main and 4.5 to 5 turns on the idle. And that is from 0. And 0 is found going counterclockwise. Okay? I'm sorry. To go to 0, you go clockwise, and then to come out, you go counterclockwise. So you're screwing in to find 0 clockwise, and you're coming out to prescribe the number of turns. Reference 3.5 or 3 to 4 turns on the main, and 4.5 to 5 on the idle. Okay? Hopefully that's made sense of that. So I have the DLE, not the DLE. I don't know why I said DLE. I had the Pilot RC auto starter, and we're going to fire it up. All right, here we go. And here we go. That's pretty sweet, that electric start. You're idling good. Okay guys, I'm just going to leave it at that because the procedure is going to be get the engine warm and then bring it to full throttle and adjust the high side, which is the main needle valve, and just to where I can get the best RPMs out of with that prop. And the break-in prop on this is a 2412 prop. So it's just going to make a bunch of noise, but that's the procedure. You bring it up, and then once you got your peak RPMs, you back off a little bit, make it slightly richer, and then bring it down to idle, let it sit there for an idle, and then just mash that stick forward, your throttle, and I mean hit it. And if it if it coughs and hesitates, it is it's too rich. It's bogged down. And if you hit the throttle and it just cuts, and you just hit the throttle and it cuts and it dies, you're lean. So you have to go and adjust. I want to show you from reference. This is after the valve job. There's number 1. There was my cold cylinder. There's number 3. And there's number 2. So they're all warm and they're all firing. We got good throttle response. She's idling reliably. And that's it, guys. That's how you break in a brand new radial engine, or I guess the Saito 90. I hope this has been helpful. I'm very happy with this engine and that new timing flange from CH Ignitions, which I am not sponsored by, but I want to tell you the products that I use. And that CH Ignition broke this this engine in just right. It's idling great. It starts right up. It's wonderful. Check it out. One more time. Flip the switch. That's unbelievable idle. That's a low idle. All right, guys, like and subscribe.